And I would honestly tell you the very first step to the wall breaker method, the very first step is the hardest step. So I want to stress that very clearly. It is the
Yeah.
hardest step, but I will say if you can find a way to really achieve this first step, I promise you everything else will be easier. So what is the first step? The first step, you have to find a way to look in the mirror and you have to tell yourself the truth.
Raheel Siddiqui, welcome to Quick Before You Forget.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
I am so excited. Did I say your name right?
You did say it right.
We were
Appreciate it.
practicing off air because, guys, I had him in my head differently. And then it takes some practice sometimes. So I'm so excited, friends, for you to meet Raheel because the first time I met him and he said his name, I leaned in. I'm like, that is a very interesting name for a very interesting human. So Raheel is a TEDx speaker, motivational keynote speaker, and the creator of the WallBreaker Method, a framework designed to help people break through the invisible barriers that are holding them back from living the life they actually want to live. His work sits at the intersection of identity, courage, and action, helping people stop overthinking and start taking action toward meaningful and impactful change in their lives. And today we're talking about the walls we build, the ones we inherit, and what it really takes to break through them. Raheel, are you ready?
Come on, man. I was born ready, Ty.
I
You already know, right? I'm born ready for
how
this.
did I know you were gonna say that? I had a feeling.
I'm
So
telling you, yep.
oh my gosh. I want to know, I walk through people's stories on this podcast and I usually go past, present, future. And I usually ask the one of the first questions I usually ask is like a moment in your life or a person in your life from your childhood that has impacted you to today, which I do want to know. But your question that I've been thinking about it is more specific because of your story, because
Mhm.
I want to know as the wall breaker, what's the first wall that you broke through?
My obesity, I mean, hands down, losing the amount of weight that I did and overcoming it. And also, it's the twofold to it, right? It's not just the physical piece, but definitely the mental piece, right? So it was one big wall, or we could even say multiple walls, but definitely just conquering that once and for all and kind of putting that behind me and knock on wood, hopefully for the rest of my life, because that was definitely hands down the biggest wall I had to knock down to help me become the wall breaker per se.
For sure. So I got to hear something called a scar story at a event that Mick Hunt, our mutual friend Mick, put on
Hmm.
a event. It was a really cool mastermind at an event called Lead Loud in Greenville,
Hmm.
South Carolina recently. And we had a couple people stand up and tell their scar stories. And you were one of those people. And my jaw was on the floor. Like I was like, whoa, your story is incredible. And
I
you know, when
appreciate it.
you kind of just dropped this like, oh, I just lost a lot of weight. That was my first wall. And I'm like, oh my gosh, people don't even know. So talk us through and take your time because
Mhm.
this is it. Like this is the real why behind what you're doing. Talk us through that scar story as you told it and don't like shorten it. Tell it in its entirety.
I appreciate it. Yeah, because I felt like when I did tell it at the Lead Loud event, it was only a few minutes. I kind of gave the cliff notes and the trailer per se, and beginning, middle, end. But thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, what a ride. So, Raheel Siddiqui, born and raised in Long Island, New York. Go Jets! You see the green on top, and I always get a lot of flack for it too. So, but yeah, I got to ride with my team. I had to throw that out there, but. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, so pretty much Ty, like growing up in New York, I mean, starting out, it was tough, man. I was pretty much born obese, overweight my entire life. And I think growing up, going back into that space, childhood, elementary school, middle school, high school, getting into college, so pretty much into my 20s, I really didn't address it, right? So I felt like it was a situation where my mind was looking at a wall, but I didn't really see it, and maybe because I didn't want to see it, right? I think also when you're a different age gap or an age group in your in your teens and your 20s. Now that I'm in my 40s, let's not tell everybody that, but I think in that time I just wasn't willing to address it. I wasn't willing to see it. I wasn't willing to run through it. I was the person that was running away from it. So lo and behold, during my childhood, I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, I really took a really big beating. I mean, when I mean beating, I mean virtually. Not virtually, but verbally, excuse me. So
Verbally.
verbally, yeah, exactly, correct. Yep, excuse me. So, just walking into places, being really body shamed, being really humiliated. I was always picked on a lot. Friends, quote unquote, extended family members, people that were supposed to be close in my circle. It's funny when you walk into a room, you think that people are laughing with you, but then over time you realize that they're really laughing at you. And then,
Mm.
the bullying got so bad for me that I would go to places, events, dinner parties, anywhere that there was food, and I would hear a lot of mean and nasty comments, and it was people's jest, but I felt like I was walking in and again having a good time, but I didn't realize that I was a target, man. I was just a walking target, and people were just looking at this guy, and I'm thinking I'm coming in there like fun, big, fun-loving guy, but I was really a target for a lot of people. So and I got bullied so bad to the point where a lot of times I would go to places and I was so afraid to eat in front of people that I would literally go to a fast food restaurant and just pound down like 2, 3, 4,000 calories of food. Then I would go to that event and people would ask me to eat, and I would be like, no, I'm okay, I'm full. But to be honest with you, I was really broken, right? I mean, at the end of the day, because I got shamed so badly in those moments. But again, I think it just stems from that wall or multiple walls. I didn't want to run through it. I kept running away from it, right? I kept running away from my problems. I didn't want to go through it. So fast forward to January 2010, I got to my heaviest weight at 405 pounds, and it's just crazy thinking about it because I know it's 2010 and it seems like it's 16 years, but for me it's like literally like I remember every snapshot of those moments. But my father looked at me one day and he said, "Hey man, like I'm getting really concerned. I want to take you to the doctor because I'm his youngest son and my weight was getting out of control." And he was like, "I just want to make sure that you're healthy and we can figure out a plan or a path forward, assuming you're not, and get ahead of the problem, not behind it." So I said, okay, got my blood work done, went to the doctor's office a few days later, and this part of the story, it's like burned in my brain for the rest of my life. So my father and I are sitting there into the doctor's office. The doctor walks in, has a folder in his hand, looks down at the folder, and it's my results of my blood work. Looks at the folder, flips the folder, the pages of the folder of my results, closes the folder, throws the folder on the counter, looks at my father and I and says, "It doesn't matter what these results say. Your son's going to be dead by the time he's 40. We're just wasting our time being here anyways." And that was it. And in that moment, I'm thinking, all right, well, no five-star review for you there, Doc, right? I mean, I'm definitely not giving you that on Yelp. But complete shock. I mean, I never in my wildest dreams thinking I'm gonna go in there. Like, what person would go to a doctor's office thinking you're going to get that type of news, right? That like instant, like boom. So I'm like, wow. So then my dad and the doctor went off to the side for a couple of minutes. They chatted and then we left. Fastest doctor's visit ever. So but not even 5 minutes. And I think where my eyes, my awareness of my wall started to come was right here in this moment. So driving home, about halfway home, my father looked at me. I'm driving. He's in the passenger seat on the way home from the doctor's office. And he said, "Listen, hey, I need you to pull the car over." I'm like, "Hey, is everything okay? What's going on?" He said, "Listen, just pull the car over like right now." And I said, "Okay." And my father was like the complete opposite of me. He had a very soft spoken voice, but the volume obviously cranked up in this moment. So I pulled the car over on the side. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he said, "Listen, this isn't a game. I am running out of time. I'm not going to be there to see you get married. I'm not going to be there to see you have kids, but you still have time. You have to promise me that you are going to take this seriously. Promise me you're going to take control of your health. Promise me you're going to take control of your life. And we are not driving home until you promise me." And in that moment, I'm like, what is going on here? One morning you wake up to go to the doctor's office and you're thinking, another story in your head or another vision that didn't go as planned, and now you're driving home and you can't even make it home, and another part of my story or another just setting occurs that I never thought would happen. And my father at that time was battling a lot of health issues himself. I mean, he had rotator cuff surgery, cataracts, just a lot. The body was really breaking down for him, and but he had a really bad liver issue that was also really bothering him. So whatever it was in that moment, he decided, I'm assuming it's now or never, right? Like now is the time. I need to get through to my son somehow, some way. So I said, okay, dad, like calm down. And he was like, no, like, and he reiterated it again, saying that we are not driving home. You have to promise me, promise me. And I think what really hit me hard was, he had like tears coming down his eyes, like the water and the pain was like really coming out. I've never seen my father in all my life up until that moment cry ever. So I'm like, okay, like, please just don't cry. I promise, okay? I promise you, I will. I will take control. I promise you, I will take control of my health. I will take control of my life. Just don't cry. Because I'm a dad now, like most parents, when kids yell at you, it's kind of like in one ear and out the other, per se, but not this time. Like this time, it was like, no, you need to listen to me and you listen to me right now. So that's when I was like, okay, I promise. And then we drove home, and that's when the journey began. So, January, as always in life, I tried and I kept failing, right? I went to the local track, kept failing there. Went to the local school, kept failing there. I joined a gym, local gym, on my own. And I went there 3 days a week. I thought, okay, I'm feeling great. And then all of a sudden it went to 2 days a week and then 1 day a week. And then the gym is calling me like, hey, Raheel, we haven't seen you in a while, man. Everything okay? And then I just quit because that's all I knew in my life. I was the ultimate quitter. I think accountability is very key in these moments. And in this moment, as I'm telling the story, because I didn't have any of it, I was the ultimate quitter and I lacked any accountability. And that's what cost me to this point. So tried and failed. But then May 2010, so now we're going like 5, 6 months in. One of my really closest friends was like, hey, listen, man, we're joining a gym. A bunch of our close friends are all joining together. Why don't you join too? It'll be fun. We can all play ball together. We can hang out together. Because that was the one thing I could always hold my hat on, is that we still played collectively. I did with my friends. I have an older brother, so we have the same circle of friends, played a lot of sports, hung out, and that was another way to always be together. So very awesome of him to think of me. And he was like, please join. And in that moment, I'm thinking, okay, well, the number one reason why I will probably, because what else do I have to lose? I mean, I've tried everything else. Everything else has failed at this point. So, all right, man, let's do it. Done. So then I remember the first day of gym class, I see a big sign on the wall. And what does it say? It says team weight loss class. Literally big and bold. So I'm like, okay, it's like that light bulb, like, like, I'm like, okay, so it's 3 days a week. And I was like, you know what? Let me try it. Like, why not? I mean, and it was for people just like me, people who were completely out of shape, unhealthy, want to get their life, their weight, their fitness journey back on track. So I did it. I joined, I signed up, and then I did it. And that first week, I started to get some traction. I went like 3 days a week. I lost a few pounds because they had like weekly weigh-ins, like the Biggest Loser. And so I lost about like 5 pounds that first week. And then I was like, you know what? What if I just come every single day, 7 days a week, 3 days a week with the class, but then also on my own, just put in a little extra work. So I remember I did that 7 days a week. I went week 2, and the trainer looked at me. I looked at him. And I'm like, okay, man, you're scaring me. What's going on? And he was like, dude, you lost like 17 pounds this week. And in that moment, I had to taken aback. And I was like, for the first time in my life, I actually didn't quit. I actually was accountable. I didn't run away from that wall. I finally was able to stick, right through that wall, take my shoulder and ram right through that wall and stick to it. And I think I was like, wow. And I think that's when the switch really hit and the fire just really exploded in me. And then from May 2010 to May 2011, I ended up losing my first 150 pounds. I mean, I became a straight monster, okay? Like, literally, I felt like this unstoppable force. I was excited. I was feeling good. I had the swagger, nice clothes. I mean, I had an extra bounce on my step. I was feeling great. Like, oh, it's nice being up here, on top in my own mind, right? I was like, it's nice being on the top of the mountain, not in the bottom. So I was feeling great heading into that summer in 2011. But as they say in life, you take one step forward and two steps backwards. So going in, even though my health I felt like was on the rise, 2 months later, July 2011, We go to Connecticut for my cousin's wedding. We're in the hotel room the night of the reception. Unfortunately, my father's health took my father's health took a severe turn for the worse. His liver ended up blowing out and he ended up dying right in my hands in the hotel bed. And it was like the most tragic experience of my life. And I was there, my mom was there, my brother was there, my everybody, my family was there. And it was his side of the family too. So his siblings were there and just an absolute wreck. I'm like, oh, what is going on here? And to add salt on a wound, I don't know if there's even a bigger wound I can probably just say than now. We had to go do the funeral in Baltimore where we were living. 24 hours later, we had over 500 people come, loving turnaround, loving show out. I bend over to pick up his casket. I stand up, and what do I hear? Like, ah, and I blow out my L3, L4 herniated disc, and I have shooting pain down my legs, down to my toes, down my left leg, down to my toes, and I'm in excruciating pain. So, again, in my mind, I'm like, what is going on here? Just like that day in 2010 in the doctor's office. I'm like, I'm thinking a vision, a story in my head of how it's going to play out one day, and it's complete opposite of how it did play out. So I had to say goodbye to my best friend who I did this for, and I'm like, what is going on here? So the fire that I had, it really went from like a monster fire, big flame to a very, very tiny spark, right? Because at this point in my mind, I'm like, well, I did this for him. Where do we go from here? So fast forward, we get to 2016. My wife and I do get married, but I'm dealing with severe sciatica. I never addressed it. I had this pain and it wasn't going away. So went through that problem, but I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna again, like I always did, I kept running away from that wall. I didn't want to run through it. So I just kept it on the back burner. I would still work out and train, but the weight did creep up a lot. I didn't take it as seriously. I didn't attack it the way I did because my father was gone. 2016, my wife and I get married. I'm thinking life is good. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happily married. We're good to go. 2 years later go by. We can't have children. I'm like, what's going on? Go run all the fertility tests. Go see the fertility doctor. She literally tilts her chair right at me and says, Raheel, I can't 100% confirm it, but I think your up and down extreme weight loss situation might have been a really big damper in this whole piece. Your sperm motility count is abnormally low. And I think that is the number one reason why that you guys are having trouble having children. And the only option that I see here for you guys to even have a chance to have a child is through in vitro fertilization, IVF. And for people that don't know, the male audience, especially, I feel like the male audience doesn't have enough education about this, in my opinion. It is an absolute beast. Okay. It is a grind. So in my mind, I'm thinking now, okay, now I'm the wall that my wife has to go through,
Mhm.
right? Like that's how I felt in that moment. Like now she has to go through me. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And she was like, okay, if that's our choice, that's our choice. And, you know, it is an absolute beast. I mean, when you talk about in vitro, shots, money, spiritually, like, I mean, just financially, emotionally, everything, it just really takes a toll on you. My wife was like, throwing up. She had bruises all over her body. And I remember her on the bed. And I'm like, I don't know how much more you can do. Like, this is a lot, man. And shout out to her. She put her two fingers in the air, put them right in her stomach, and she was like, I'm having this baby. Like, I'm having this baby. I'm having him no matter what, or it no matter what. And quitting is not an option. Like, it was kind of like she was pissed at me for even suggesting. And I was like, I'm not suggesting quitting. I see so much, somebody you love so much putting themselves through so much pain and suffering. And I felt like it was my fault. I was the wall that she was trying to go break. She was like, we're going to just keep attacking this thing. So lo and behold, kept at it. And then finally, lo and behold, doctor did call and tell us we got some good news on the way. 9 months later, yeah, our son was born November 2019, 11/11, Rain Siddiqui. So Rain 11/11. So love the number one. I love 11. Four ones across the board. It was beautiful. Best day of my life. It was amazing. So I'm like, okay, this is great. She did it. She broke the wall down and had our son. And then that was amazing. And then I'm like, okay, here we go. But as we talked about in life, you take one step forward, take two steps backward. 2 months later, paternity leave is over. I'm driving down to Arlington, Virginia. I'm in my work garage. I bend over to tie my shoe. I stand up. I'm like, like excruciating pain now, excruciating. And I was in a garage, so like my thunderous voice like shouted out everywhere, and people came running to me. I like fell to my knees and then I had to like try to stand back up. I blow out my second herniated disc. So I'm like, oh my God. And so much pain that I couldn't even really drive home. It took me about almost 2 hours because I had to like lie down in the car to drive home. So I get home and I remember sitting in the bed, I'm crying, and my wife was like, "Look, man," like looking at me, and she was like, "Listen, what are you doing?" Like kind of like in an upsetting tone, and I'm like in dying pain right now. I was like, "What did I do wrong?" And then she was like, "Listen, what are you doing?" She was like, "You're a new father. You're my husband. I cannot have a husband and a brand new father, God forbid, in a wheelchair. You made a promise to your dad. Like, just because your dad died doesn't mean the promise died with him." And yeah, that was tough,
I lost count of how many walls you broke through though.
man.
I was tallying them kind of as we were going, like I was making little tally marks and I lost track.
Yeah.
Like because you have lived the wall breaking life and I want to know what happened next because you bounced forward, right?
I mean, that's exactly right. So I remember her even saying after that moment, like, let's finally attack, this problem. You've been running away from it for so long. Let's finally get a doctor. Let's get you fixed and, let's get you right. Because I remember another piece to this was she was like, "I know you, man. I know you. Like you love training, like you love like your energy, you love the excitement, you love what it does to you." She was like, "That's you. Like that's all of you. Like you give all of you." So we need to find a way to bring that guy back. And you're not that guy right now. So we need to get healthy. We need to get you back, like Raheel back, that she's known. So let's find a way. Let's find a plan. Let's find a doctor. Let's get it done. Found a great doctor, got surgery done successfully, two on both of my discs. So two slip discs, got operations, surgery was a success. Shout out to my wife again. 6 weeks of physical therapy, rehab, up the stairs, down the stairs, changing my bandages, like taking care of me, XYZ. 6 weeks goes by, go to see the doctor for my checkup, looks at me up and down, examines me, looks right at me, and he says, "Raheel." And I'm like, "Oh man, like, please God." Because doctor's visits and myself aren't, obviously, I don't have a good history going to the doctor, right? So he was like, "Raheel," honestly, he was like, "Congratulations, man. You're 100%. I'm clearing you 100%. Full systems go." But the three words that he said to me, Ty, that if they ever embody me, it's more than ever. He was like, "Just let it out." That's what he told me. Just let it out. And I haven't looked back. And so I was able to rip off the weight that I gained, shredded all of it, and
And
then
then
some.
some,
And
right?
then
Like
some,
you're
yeah, because
at tell people because you
uh,
haven't like shared the full number yet. So we started at
I
410,
we
right?
started at 405.
405.
So I
Okay.
went from 405 in 2010, and I went down to 255 in 2011, and then I was up to like 320, maybe 330. So I gained more than half of that weight back when I got my back surgery done, and that's when he told me to let it out. And then I don't know what happened, but that it's like literally like I was like a lion in a cage, and when he said that, the cage just opened, and here comes the lion just coming running out, like really like right in front of a wild jungle, and I was able to shred off all the weight that I gained, and I did lose some. So now I am down 200 plus pounds. I am in the greatest shape of my life. I did get married. I did have my son. I am still, knock on wood, training 2 hours a day every single day. Like every single day, man. Like if you hear it in my voice, like hammer to nail, it really sets the tone. Like working out with my son, like playing sports with him, running around pain free. Like everything that my wife told me that day in the bed, like the guy that she was like, "That's who you are." That's exactly who I've become now, and it is the greatest feeling ever. And my core message to everybody is, if you heard this entire story, man, like any wall in your life is truly meant to be broken. It truly is. And whatever you're going through right now in this moment, if you feel as though you're at rock bottom, as I've shared, I've hit rock bottom multiple times in my life. You can look at it one or two ways really quickly. One, you can look at it at it's the worst time of your life and we can be sad and we can kind of sit in it, or you can look at it as, "You know what, dude? Rock bottom is the best place to be because there's nowhere to go but up," right? There's nowhere to go but up. Every major setback in your life is truly set up for a major comeback. And you're looking at a guy who's lived it. I've breathed it. I've smelled it. I've tasted it. And I'm here and we're rolling. And I just hope my dad is proud.
He is. He is absolutely so proud. And how old are you?
43.
Woohoo! So we made it past
Yeah, we did.
40.
We did,
We
man.
did. No,
Thankfully.
he is so proud. And
Thank you.
I want to thank you for walking us through and for not truncating it because
No,
every
thank you.
single bump mattered.
Hmm.
Every single wall mattered. And
Hmm.
your decision to keep showing up for yourself mattered then and it matters now because here we are having this incredible conversation. And now you can tell people you have developed this wall breaker method, and I'd love for you to kind of, for somebody that's new to what the method is, can you kind of
Yes.
like summarize it for us so that we
Yep.
can, like, what's particularly like, what's one thing that somebody can do today to
Yeah.
start being better at breaking the walls in their life?
No, that's a great question. And I would honestly tell you the very first step to the wall breaker method, the very first step is the hardest step. So I want to stress that very clearly. It is the
Yeah.
hardest step. But I will say, if you can find a way to really achieve this first step, I promise you everything else will be easier. So, what is the first step? The first step, you have to find a way to look in the mirror and you have to tell yourself the truth,
Mm,
not sugarcoating it, not saying I'm in this situation because of he or she or XYZ or this person or a situation or anything else or anyone else or any organization, anything else like that. You have to look in the mirror and you have to tell yourself the truth and admit it and own it and live in it and take a minute to understand. I was 405 pounds. I was broken. My heart was a walking time bomb. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to accept it. I wanted to run away from it, not run through it. My father was the only reason why I was able to open my eyes and finally truly understand. I had a problem. I never wanted to admit it. And God willing, I don't know if I'm here if He didn't do what He did for me.
yeah.
He saved my life. But you have to tell yourself the truth, man. You can't play the blame game. You have to tell yourself the truth. Whether it's fair or not, you have to tell yourself the truth.
And you also said you have to look in the mirror. And Raheel, I made a mental note for myself that I've been getting feedback about the show that I need to share a little bit more about me and my story as part of
Yeah.
the conversation. And I thought that I would do that if the moment felt right. And you not only said 11:11, you've not only lost an incredible amount of weight, and also you said, look in the mirror and tell yourself the truth.
You
And I
have
need to
to.
I need to tell myself the truth, which is
Nope.
I avoided the mirror.
Hmm.
I did. I like legitimately could not look at I would get out of the shower and be so grateful that like it was steamy, right? Like and I
Yep.
wouldn't look because I live very humble, got a very small house with a very one little shower bathroom,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of space in there to hide. But I managed to hide myself from the
Hmm.
mirror for years. Like
Yep.
literally like there's a chunk of my life that I couldn't look in the mirror. So people, have seen me for the last year or two posting a lot of like mirror selfies, and I
Hmm.
think of them more like reflections because they're it takes it to a little bit of a deeper level, but it's been something that I've done to practice because I lost 80 pounds and about 20 inches off of my waist
Oh,
in
wow.
a
That's incredible.
thank you. And that
Yeah.
was a very
Incredible.
forced situation because my liver was shutting down, which is
Oh,
something
man.
unfortunately you know a lot about. And the doctors were treating me like it was really, really bad. Like they
Hmm.
were, and this happened during COVID. It was like 2020. And I was in the hospital, and there was all these like extra precautions that they needed to take with like the big PEP suits and
Hmm.
stuff. Like my husband couldn't even come visit me really. Like he had to like only a certain amount of time. It was a
Man, I'm
nightmare.
so sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. And the doctors were surprised that my brain worked as well as it did because my body was in such bad shape. So I saw that as, like you said, like rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. And that's why like every single word of quick before you forget, like my description, just for anybody that for anybody that forgot.
Yeah.
Quick before you forget is a personal growth and development podcast aimed at
Yeah.
helping you build your unreal life from the ground up
Hmm.
using tools like music, mindset, and movement to remember who you are while you build who you were meant to be.
Hmm.
And every single word there holds incredible value. But the part about being on the ground is legit and something
Hmm.
you know a lot about. So I just wanted to share with people because, I have struggled with opening up about that. And then you said, you have to look in the mirror. And I'm
You
like,
have to.
these people see me posting these goofy pictures of myself in the mirror, and it's all part of my healing. It's been all
Hmm.
part of my journey to say, you have to love yourself enough to be honest
Yep.
with yourself about what's going on, where you're at, how you're feeling.
Hmm.
And you can't do any of the hard work if you're not
Even if
being
it
honest,
hurts, even if it hurts,
especially when
right?
it hurts,
It hurts.
honestly.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then that you need to
Yes.
love yourself even more in those moments and have more grace with yourself than,
Always remember the truth hurts, but in the end, lies hurt more.
yes. Thank you for that, firebomb.
But
Jeez.
I mean, it's truth. I mean, it's honestly
Yeah.
the truth. Like, if you keep lying to yourself and you keep putting this illusion in your brain that I am not in a position of success, whatever that success is, my relationship, my marriage, girlfriend, boyfriend, work, finances, corporate, whatever, at the end of the day, if you are consistently playing the blame game or you are placing whatever negativity that is going on in your life and you're placing it elsewhere and you're looking in the mirror and it's going here, 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 you're never going to even get to step two, step three, step four. It doesn't matter. That's why I stress in my framework, step one, go in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. Because I promise you, Ty, if nobody can do that, you will never be able to go from point A to point B, which is also a part of my framework. I tell everybody, very simple plan in the next 5 seconds, right? You want to get from point A to point B, whatever it is in your life. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a podcaster. I want to go to Spain. I want to go to Tahiti. I want to buy a Bentley. Whatever it is, point A to point B. But the beauty is the plan is very simple, point A to point B, but you're going to have one big wall or a ton of walls in front of you. Now, if you run away from all of those walls, you're never going to get to point B. But if you have that courage to take that shoulder and just run through every single wall that stands in your way and you finally get to point B, it is the most beautiful feeling ever. And that's why I give more of a credit. And even though I lost 200 plus pounds and knock on wood, I was able to accomplish what I accomplished. I look at people like yourself right now, first and foremost, incredible. I'm so proud of you. That is amazing. I had no idea about that. I mean, it's a phenomenal accomplishment, man. And that needs to be celebrated and deserved. People like my wife, seeing what she went through, man, for like a year. I mean, people that weren't around that didn't see how hard she had to work to have our son, all the walls that she had to break. I mean, it was just incredible, but she had to own it. It's like whether it was my wall, and I loved how she kept reframing it. She was like, "It's our wall. We're gonna do it together." So I
I'm
know.
so glad you found the support system you needed because early on in your story, you talked about how people that you thought you trusted were laughing at you
Oh yeah,
and bullying you. And like it's not an easy thing to go from that to trusting people with your heart. And you
yep.
you were able to do that, which is incredible to me.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And I think on a deeper level, it's very small. And what I mean by that is my wife, my son, obviously, I have like very close, I would say less than maybe a handful of people where I could truly say. And I think one other lesson that I want to teach everybody, nobody in life is going to be a bigger supporter or should be a bigger supporter of you for you except you. You need to be your biggest fan, right? Everybody else in your life, if they're truly your core people in your life, even my wife and my son, as much as I love them and adore them, and I do everything for them. I have to be my biggest fan. I have to be my biggest supporter because I'm the one that's getting up at 5:30 in the morning and I'm the one that's going out shoveling snow and cracking ice and I'm the one that's going to the gym and hammering away and I'm the one that's putting in the hours and I'm the one that's sacrificing the time and whatever emotions I'm going through, whatever pain I'm going through, I will always have them as my support system always, and whoever that could be for anybody in your life, close family members, friends, siblings, parents, etc. But it starts with you. You have to be the driving force of you. You have to be the biggest fan of you. And then everybody else will kind of follow you, right? Like your team will follow you. It's just like in sports. You have to learn how to be the leader and the best player for your team. And then everybody else will follow you, right? But you have to set that tone as the leader, as the individual, as that person that everyone is like, oh my God. It's the same concept of life, man. That's how you are a wall breaker. And I think to your point, you mentioned the bullying piece. Now I know, I think also the biggest mistake that I learned from was you want kind of people to have your back, right? Oh, I want people to kind of stop. Like, I would wish for people to kind of stop and step in and be like, hey, maybe somebody can help me stop being embarrassed or bullied or made fun of. But then you realize over time, it's not their responsibility. As much as I would hate so many people for never sticking up for me or standing up for me, I learned over time, whether it's fair or not, that I honestly, it was probably the best thing that happened to me, because that's where I truly learned, in those calluses, in those moments of falling down and being broken and being shattered in half, that gave me that resilience, that toughness, that mental fortitude to understand I am my biggest supporter. If somebody has something to say to me, I need to be the one to step up for myself. If anybody else wants to join truly and support me, I would love it and I would appreciate it. But you have to be the biggest supporter and fan of you first, and then let everybody else follow, if that makes sense.
It does. And I think it's hard for people because no, people don't want to seem self-serving, right? Like there's a hard balance there for people to actually be able to do that without feeling like they're being like cocky or braggy or
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
But it's so important and it's hard. It's really hard, especially when you're like a public person, like you're trying to
Right.
build a brand or you're trying to,
100%.
like it's a delicate line to walk. Um,
100%.
but my question for you specific to this is a lot of us know, like a lot of us have like a feeling like there's something pulling on our heart or something more than like our life. Like we're in our life and a lot of us get very comfy, cozy
Mhm.
in what's easier than the hard. And doing a lot of what you're saying can feel very hard and overwhelming for people. So how do people bridge that gap? Like how do people make that first step? What coaching do you have for people to get going and get started?
I love that you asked this question. So I'll actually give you a great story that I went through, and I really hope this can help everybody out there. So I remember when I was training my first year, I was 405 pounds, like we talked about, and I lost 150, but obviously a lot of walls you have to break during that journey. It definitely was not
That's an
easy.
entire human. Like that's the
I'm
thing. Like
telling
people, you
you.
say the number, like, and it's like, no, that's like more than my 12-year-old.
I'm telling you. And then I kind of pretty much had to do it all over again, right? So I had to
Yeah.
like, I had to rebuild and bring it back up. But
Yeah.
I remember this one core lesson that I learned, and I really hope this answers your question and for the audience to understand. But I remember sitting in the sauna, and I remember I was down maybe like 30 or 40 pounds on my journey, but man, it was tough. Like I really hit like a wall per se, literally. Like my body was broken down. I was exhausted, mentally exhausted. Because again, you got to remember, I was 405 pounds, but I wasn't moving and shaking like this for a long time. It's truly like when you have a car and it's sitting in the garage for like 10 years and then you're starting it back up. It's not going to run as smooth right after 10 years of sitting in the shed, right? And that's how the human body can be too sometimes. I didn't exercise like that, occasionally here, there, but not like on this rigor intense program that I was at. So I remember, nonetheless, I was in the sauna and I remember this big guy walked in, like just jacked out of his mind. And I'm like staring at him pretty hard and he's staring at me. And then like I think like I was like trying to like fight him or something. And I was like, he was like, "Do I know you?" And I was like, "No, no, no." And I was honestly like looking at his physique, because I was like, man, like that's the kind of physique that I was dreaming about. Like, man, this guy's like just ripped, confident, looking good. So I was like, no, I was like, listen, do you mind if I ask you a question? He was like, yeah, what's up? I was like, hey, I was like, man, I was like, can you give me some advice or tips? Because I'm on a journey, a fitness journey, and I'm trying to get to certain goals. And how do I get to, that next level? And he was like, what do you mean? And it was like, it's really funny. He was like, what do you mean? He said, well, what's your goal? I said, well, I'm trying to look like you. You know what I mean? And he
Without
was
being
just like,
creepy.
exactly, without being like overly creepy. This is like really creepy. Yeah, exactly. He's like, all right. And then he was like, well, let me ask you this. He said, what are you doing now? Where are you at? I said, well, listen, I started at 405 pounds. I'm down 30 or 40 pounds, and I have to lose another 100 and some pounds left. And he was like, hold on, stop right there. No, you don't. And I said, okay, excuse me. He was like, don't say that you have to lose 100 and some pounds. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Can you help me elaborate? He's like, listen, he was like, put it this way. He was like, imagine if I was building a house and you're my construction worker. Okay. I hired you. I have my house built out on my map or whatever, on my blueprint. I need a construction worker to build it. I hired you. And I'm giving you the blueprint to build my house. Okay. I give it to you on a Sunday night. Okay. So Sunday night, I agree that you're my guy. I hired you. You're going to build my house. Got it. Great. Monday morning comes. I'm going to call you and say, hey, is my house ready? What's your response going to be? So I'm like, okay. And I'm still trying to follow this plan. He was like, how, he was like, my point is building a house takes time, right? It's going to take a long time to
Yeah.
build a house that I want to build. So, and how do you also build a house?
Brick by
Brick
brick.
by brick by brick. Exactly. So he was like, stop setting these insurmountable goals and putting all this excess pressure on yourself. He was like, just set small goals, as small as they possibly can be. And when you hit that very small goal, he was like, then stack it on brick by brick. So, for example, I was like 369 at that time, or maybe like 364 at that time, something like that. And then he was like, okay, because he asked me, what's your weight right now? I said, I'm at 364. He's like, okay. He was like, every day you come on in here, and I feel like this is the best part. He's like, every day you come in here, your only goal should be to get to 359. 359. I don't want to hear anything else. And then he was like, once you get to 359, then your only goal should be to get to 349 and then 339. And I see your face because that's exactly how I felt. And I'm telling you, Ty, when he told me that, that was exactly the moment what I needed. And that really helped put gasoline inside of me. I was like, dude, thank you so much. I was like, we're two grown, hot, sweaty men. Otherwise, I would hug you right now and I'd be like abnormally creepy, weird. I'd like try to hug this super jack guy who I'm like stalking in the freaking sauna of all people. But I'm like, dude, thank you so much. But he was like, listen, that's exactly my point, man. Just set small goals. So to answer your question, whatever your life is, man, you have $0 in the bank, just go get $1. Just go find a way to make $1. That's it. That's it. Don't go tell yourself I gotta go make $100,000 or two or a million. Just go get $1. Okay, $1. That's it. If you like any goal in life, whatever you're trying to achieve, just set a very small microscopic goal. That's it. And then add on top of that, brick by brick by brick. That's how the house is built. That's how the body is built. That's how life is built. That's what I got for you.
That's how life is built. Drop in the fire. I am.
You like that, man. You like that. I'm on one. You're bringing the
I
best
do.
out of me, man. You're bringing the best out of me. I
Well,
should have
that's
been a
that is
rapper.
that is so nice of you to say. Thank you. And my name is Tyler, which means bricklayer. So,
Awesome.
I'm
Love
just
it.
like brick by brick, baby. Let's go. Like I
Love it.
am
That,
here for the energy. I'm here for
ooh,
the bricks. I'm here for the process. And we celebrate those small wins, right?
yeah,
Like that's the other thing. Like you set these little micro goals and then you
mhm.
find ways to celebrate the wins. And
That's
that's,
it. That's it.
I've been trying to get to, I call it Wonderland, like on the
Yeah,
scale, like,
yeah,
the under the 200 mark for a
yep,
long time. And oh my God,
yep,
I'm sharing this on the internet.
yeah. Love it.
Like,
I
I'm
love it.
about ready
You're
to share this
accepting
on
the
the internet.
truth,
I'm
and I
accepting the
love
truth.
it.
I am
You're a
so
wall
close.
breaker.
I've been
Yeah,
so close for
that's it.
so long, and
We'll get there.
we're
We'll
almost
get there.
there.
Yeah,
We're within like a week or two. Like it's
that's it.
possible.
We're
And
there.
it's been a journey for 7 years. I wrote that in my Rachel Hollis made these Start Today journals,
Okay.
where you wrote down five things you're grateful for every day and 10 goals as if you've already achieved them,
Okay.
which is a little bit like counterintuitive to what you just said. Sorry,
Mhm.
but it's another
No, that's
way
all
to
good.
it's interesting though because it's also something that's worked, but
Mhm.
you those big goals like and you write them down as if you've already achieved them. One of them was I am in Wonderland for 7 years. I've been writing that in a Start Today journal for 7 years
So
and I'm
proud of you. That's
three
awesome.
3 pounds away, Raheel. Three.
That's it. And
3 pounds.
honestly, I could even challenge you and be like, you know what? Don't even wear the three. Just lose one
Just
more.
one more.
That's
Thank you.
it.
See, there it is.
See?
That
That's
is the
it.
mindset shift
One
right
more. Don't even worry
there.
about three. Three
Nope.
is even still too much pressure. Just put one
One. Got
because
it.
it's truly it, brick by brick, Sunday night to Monday morning. I mean,
Yeah.
when he said that, man, I'm like, I had to really sit and think for a second. Like,
Yeah. I
I'm gonna
wasn't
call
sure where
you.
that was going, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Sunday night blueprint, Monday morning. Is my house ready? That's exactly how he said it to me. And on my mind, I'm like, he was like, obviously, it's not ready
Right.
overnight, right? The
Right.
human body is not going to be ready overnight, right? Just like
Yeah.
life, it's not. You're not always going to be. It's not a overnight success story. I mean, there is no such thing. It's brick by brick by brick.
So I'm guessing we might have already answered it in all the other fire that you've led us through. But the question that I want to ask you is what you would tell 22-year-old you.
Yeah, for sure. I would say make your health your biggest priority first, and everything else will take care of itself.
Oof.
Everything else. You can figure out anything else in your life, finances, relationships, cars, um, traveling. whatever it is. But you're not doing any of those things without your health. I mean, your health first, and then everything else sets the tone. I was telling my wife this the other day too. I think the one thing that I'm very most proud of is when I come into a room with my family, I think I just feel very like proud because I feel like when my wife and my son and they look at me, they're like, because knock on wood, I do get a lot of love and I get a lot of respect and it means the absolute world to me. But I'm looking at it from the lens of one, like I just told you, hoping my dad is proud because I made a promise to him. But then two, I just want my family to be proud that they have a man and a father figure and a leader of the home that really prioritizes his health and really understands that he's in the best shape of his life mentally and physically. And no matter what else goes through, we're going to figure it out together. But you're never going to be, and this is part of the talks that I always give too, which is, if I can share really quickly, I always teach everybody this. Like, if I were to ask you, I'm going to ask you this question. If I were to ask you, what's the most important part of your life? What would your answer be?
My family, my kids, my
Family.
husband.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That question went around the circle. It came to me. And you know what I said? My answer was, and this can be, I guess, lumped in a couple of ways, but I said my training, and then my family. So you could put training in this bucket of health, right? Training, health, mental, physical health, and then my family. And then everyone was like, that's interesting. I'm like, well, how could I say that my family is the most important part of my life if I was 22-year-old Raheel at 405 pounds, completely broken, lost, didn't want to leave the couch, was secretly eating fast food, was shy, and was just a complete shell of himself, had no confidence, didn't want to admit the truth to himself, and just didn't care about life. And I just wanted to live life blind with no direction in sight. I can't sit here and say that guy, if I had my family at 22, my family is the most important part of my life because they're not.
Mm.
They are not. If I was 22-year-old Raheel, now you're talking a 43-year-old Raheel who's a flat out animal now, right? I mean, you're talking about a lion who's literally going through like Wolverine, right? Like Logan, just terrorizing all the bad guys. And I'm getting a little hype here because I love this type of stuff. But it's truly the fact of, but my family understands that every morning when I leave the gym and I'm taking care of myself, physically, emotionally, spiritually, those 2 hours, because it's all in one, mental health and physical health, spiritual. Now, when I leave the gym, now my family is the most important part of my life. My wife is getting the absolute best version of her husband that she needs and deserves, and my son is getting the absolute best version of his daddy that he needs and deserves. And this goes for women too. Tell all the women, my wife, my mom, my sister-in-law, whoever it is, relatives, all you women out there too, you deserve time for you, okay? Your family, everybody else, do they deserve time? Yes, but my advice, I wholeheartedly believe your family doesn't, if we had a pie chart, they don't have to be all of your pie chart. They could even be 95% of your pie chart. That's fine. But you need to make yourself a piece of that pie chart and be the best version of you first. I don't care if you got to block out 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. Go do yoga, mental health exercises, breath work, workshop, whatever we got these days. I don't know, in 2026, gym activity. But I promise you, if you become the best version of you, a mother, a woman, your wife, whatever it is, girlfriend, as long as you work on yourself and you dedicate that time to yourself, then you will be the best version for everyone else in your life, family, loved ones, etc.
I
Make
can
sense?
talk to that a little bit. It does make sense. And it took a lot of work for my mind to accept that truth because I have been very hard on myself I'd say the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've doubled down on my workout, which is like you said, whatever your workout is, yoga, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is goofy and silly, and I love every second of it. It's on an Oculus. It's called Supernatural VR,
Okay.
and I feel like a warrior. Like I
Yeah.
have this thing on, right? I
Yeah.
look ridiculous and I'm
Yeah.
flying, my arms are going every which way.
It's all
And
good.
I mean, I could take on any alien. I mean, I've done the training now because the whole point is you've got these like lightsabers in your hand
Yeah.
and you're like hitting these targets. And I had to work through and I still have moments where I'm feeling guilty because I spend that 2 hours on me instead of I'm wasting this time. Like I have this only this precious time while my kids are this age and they're home and they're this age and I should be
Hmm.
talking with them. I should be building
Yep.
Legos with them. I should be doing something with them. It's been very hard, but it's changed everything for good for me to have made that decision to spend that time. And my workout involves mindset, music, and movement.
Hmm.
So it's
Yep.
all three of the things that I've talked about on this show as being the tools in my tool belt to build my unreal life. My workouts are all three of those things because the coaches are in there talking about how impossible is just a big word thrown around by small people. And yes, you can. And like I've been getting these messages, rewiring my own brain to believe that I can do impossible things
Without a doubt. Without
through
a doubt.
this
Yep.
freaking workout, which is amazing and it's worth it because I realize now that it's because of that workout that I got to go do several 20 plus thousand step days in Florida with my family. It's
Love it.
because of those workouts that I've
Yep.
got that I can stand in theme park lines and do the roller coasters with my
Yep.
kids. It's
I
because of those
love it.
workouts that hopefully theoretically one day I'll be able to do that stuff with my grandkids. Like
Yeah.
and I'm thinking all this
100%.
through and it's definitely worth it. You are worth it. So for the mamas and the daddies out there who are just struggling to find the time for them, my encouragement would be to keep showing up anyway because you will still have those feelings. You will still have that guilt. You might still have that like, geez, I should be doing XYZ instead, but it's
Mhm.
so important that you don't.
100% agree with you, without a doubt. I mean, doubt only exists if you let it. So let's get all the doubt out of the mindset, right? Because
Yeah.
it'll only exist if you let it. Two, don't give an F-bomb about what anyone else thinks or says. If you look however you feel like you look amazing. Okay. I don't care what kind of glasses or XYZ, it doesn't matter. You look amazing, whatever you're doing. So who cares about anybody else? We're not driving in other lanes. We're staying in our lane. That's the beauty of the highway, right? There's
Yeah.
multiple lanes. Forget everyone else's lanes. We're staying in our lane. So we just got to stay in our lane. And then three, like you said, your family, you will always find time for them. We talked about it, the pie chart, right? You could even make them 95% of your time, but you gotta at least have that 5%, if not more, for you. And I'll tell you right now, my wife will be the first one to say, I give a lot more for myself, a lot more. But she wouldn't have it any other way. That's why on that bed, when I was crying with two blown discs, that's when she had told me, man, I know you. I know you. And I
Yeah.
know what drives you. And I know what you are, man. Like I know you love the training and the energy and the hype and the fire. And I need that guy. We need that guy.
Yeah, we
You
do.
know?
All of us do. We all need more Raheel in our lives.
No, I appreciate. I don't know about radio, but just the best version of you, man. It's
Right.
everybody can be there, man. It's not a magic potion. It's not a secret. Just find a way. I promise you, you can get it done. No additional pressure. Brick by brick, day by day. Tell yourself the truth. We'll all get there together.
Well, one thing I want to, there's two more questions that I don't want to not ask. And
Yeah,
the first one is as you're on this journey and as you're feeling hype or not, because there's days when we don't, right? Do you
100%.
have a song of survival that you turn to ground yourself, to stay excited, to stay hyped?
Yeah.
Does something come to mind?
Oh yeah, I mean, how can I go any other, man? But Eye of the Tiger. I mean, Rocky 3. I mean, come
Oh my
on now,
gosh.
man.
How
Eye of
did
the
I know?
Tiger.
You know what? I
When
should have
that beat
guessed it.
drops, oh man. I mean, I'm already getting Do you not hear the volume just going right through? I'm probably like breaking the walls in your house right now. But I blast it every day, because when you look at a guy like Rocky Balboa, I think that's the magic and the beauty of like the whole story, right? Part one,
Yeah.
he just wants to go the distance with Apollo Creed. Or just go the distance, right? Find a way, brick by brick, find a way, make that small step. Everyone thinks he's going to lose, possibly get killed, and he just wants to go the distance. He went the distance. And but in part two, right? The whole point, he fell in love, got married, I mean, had his baby. Wife was in the coma, didn't want to fight because it wasn't the same without her. And Adrian woke up out of that coma, and she just said, "There's something I want you to do for me." And then he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Win, right? Win, man." I mean, I could go. I feel like going to run right now, like literally right now, telling you that story. So it's like Eye of the Tiger, and that's truly what it is. Like you have it in you. There's going to be everybody's going to have those bad days. Myself, so many days my body is sore. I'm hurt. I'm in pain. I'm struggling. It's cold outside. I have every excuse not to go. But I think the best advice for this question on a deeper level, it's always go back to why you started in the first place. And this might seem cliche, but it's true. And even for me, it's my why every day is my dad. Every day. Because I made a promise to him.
Yeah.
I made a promise to him. So I'm like, I have to go. I have to find a way. I have to stick to it every single day because in my mind, in my heart, I feel like he saved he saved my life. It's like we exchanged lives. Like he gave his life up to save mine. So
Yeah.
I owe it to him. I have to do it. I have no choice. I have my own family now. But
Yeah.
I always hold on to that promise to my dad because I promised him I can't let it go now.
Well, I'm grateful for your dad. I'm grateful for your wife, for them, cheering you on and being a big reason that you're still going. And I'm very grateful for you. So the very last question I have
Thank you.
is not that unlike much of what we've already talked through, but I do want to know if I handed you a microphone right now, like a big megaphone that everybody had to listen to in the world, what would
Mhm.
you say?
Yeah, sure. I think honestly, just in one line, I would say any wall in your life is meant to be broken. Right? I mean, that's truly what it is. So that
Yeah.
would be my line on my microphone.
Yep.
And then if I put my microphone down and my explanation, like pretty much everything we talked about, whatever you're going through, man, whatever struggle, I know I've lived it. I'm not the guy that just went through hell. I'm the guy that burned in it. Okay. I have scars, two on my back. I got one on my heart because, I made a promise to somebody who I love and
Yeah.
I had to say goodbye to him and I lost him. So, I know what that's like. I know what that pain can do to you, right? But
Yeah.
the beauty of it is I wouldn't change it for the world. And as crazy as that sounds, because we can't change our past. Our past also shapes us and makes us who we are. We learn from it, we grow from it. It's a part of us. So I would not change any of it. The bullying, the body shaming, the jest, the beatings that I took from all the bullying that I went through, my father losing him the way that I did, and then burying him, and then the back surgery, the IVF, like everything that I've been through, I wouldn't change it for the world because I needed all of that because that was all of the walls that I had to go through to become the wall breaker. You can't be a wall breaker without having walls to break in your life. All of us are wall breakers. You just have to find a way to look at that wall, tell yourself the truth. This is my wall, and go break it.
Amen. You took us to church, and that is a phrase that
I
I think because you don't leave the same, right?
uh,
Like you don't leave the same after a conversation like this. So
I appreciate
thank
it.
you for your fire and your energy and for sharing your story and
You're
being
welcome.
vulnerable and all of the things. I'm so grateful to you, friend.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time on
Yeah.
Quick Before You Forget.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ty. Appreciate you. You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for being here with me today on Quick Before You Forget. Please like, share, and subscribe as that helps the show so much, and I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time on Quick Before You Forget.